Activated, your window into an extraordinary world lived by many, yet celebrated by few. We showcase how to rally for persons with disabilities, taking you on a journey with valuable life lessons and intriguing personalities, leaving you ready for action. Activated takes us on a journey of taking lessons from persons with disabilities and how we must do things differently to unleash the contribution persons with disabilities can and must make to building a disability-inclusive Mzansi. In today's program, reclaiming our narrative, taking back our stories as we bring together our research team of 6 phenomenal women to reflect on Season 2's journey, their lives as women with disabilities, as partners, mothers, daughters, career women, change makers, and activists. Hello, and welcome to Activated with me, Ga-Kgapane. Reclaiming the disability narrative by getting society activated requires walking our talk. The Nothing About Us Without Us slogan was coined by disability rights activists in the early 80s as an expression of affirmation that hashtag Disabled Lives Matter and that hashtag Representativity Matters. Activated created a platform and space for persons with disabilities to change the disability narrative, to represent themselves, to tell their stories in their own words, to choose which terminology they want to be associated with, and to express their viewpoints uncensored. Now, let's get activated. In Season 2, a group of 6 activists and creatives with disabilities were contracted to help design, plan, and deliver 26 episodes for Activated Season 2, supported by the research team of Season 1 to ensure continuity and consistency. In this way, persons with disabilities also share the resources allocated to make a program about and for persons with disabilities. The team of young women with disabilities ensured that Season 2 has an engendered look and feel as our viewers experience through themes such as intimacy, sexuality, spirituality, beauty, and sensuality. Experiences often denied to persons with disabilities, therefore took center stage in Season 2. Viewers have been introduced to 75 changemakers with disabilities and their families over 25 weeks, carefully selected by this phenomenal group of women with disabilities. Their design process started by isolating thematic areas that they believed were relevant to viewers with and without disabilities. Let's meet our first 2 ladies. Hello Ingrid, it's so great having you here.
Thank you, Helga. Thank you for having me.
In 30 seconds, tell our viewers who you are.
So I'm Ingrid Bame, a 32-year-old who is from South Africa, obviously. I am a media enthusiast. Also, I am an activist. And also, I'm just someone who is very, very in touch with ensuring that we have a society that is inclusive to persons with disability. I have a special love for persons with albinism, so the inclusivity of persons with albinism in the country. And I think also just looking at my journey of how far I've come, I was privileged enough to come from a family that embraced me as a person with a disability. I went to a school for the vision impaired and blind that catered to my needs, for my educational needs, but also it was an environment that allowed me to be me without me being judged or without me feeling like, okay, I don't belong, I'm not in the right space or anything like that. And that in itself propelled me, to want to do more and show a positive aspect about persons with albinism throughout the country, throughout the continent, as a matter of fact, because more often than not, the narrative that we know is, about the killings and, the negative stereotypes that are associated with albinism. And for me, it was a matter of, I've been privileged enough to live a life where I was able to come out to be the best of my ability, and I believe that is possible for everyone around who have albinism. So how do we create a positive narrative around it and show that there is life beyond having albinism and there's a positive life to it, and changing what media knows albinism to be.
Do you mind sharing aha moments, happy moments, funny moments, highlights of working on Season 2 for Activated?
Working on Season 2 for Activated, So I was on season 1. I was a guest, briefly appeared and everything like that. I've had a bit of experience of working in media, working in a bit of TV, post-production and so forth. But really having to come in, because I've always wanted to put together content. It's a passion of mine, because that basically shapes what people think. Like, yo, guys, the amount of work, the amount of work that it takes working for TV to bring a really good production out for the world to consume is, yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's fulfilling. Because I think at the end of the day, when seeking out guests, when coming together with the story and having to figure out how best do I make sure this particular story is highlighted and that people who will be watching this at the end of the day will get what it is that I'm trying to get through, that was that was my aha moment, because then I knew that through the work that I do, through what I'm doing with Activated, I'm actually able to change the narrative, which is what I usually do, which is what I do. So, it was hard, but it was certainly worth it. And I would do it again in a heartbeat.
Ingrid, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you, but we've run out of time.
Looking forward to another interview with more time.
We were supposed to see Mamaswa today, but with load shedding, we couldn't do that. So we're going to hook up with her later and get her take on Activated Season 2. Stay tuned.
Tawela, Mamaswa, Morodi wa Ralefeta. Better known on the streets as King Mamsi, or Babang Abanyakor King, so Mamsi. Sure, Mamsi is a full of life person. Mamsi Oratadilo. I would say for the streets, but not for the streets, not in that way. Mamsi is a bubbly person. Change in anything that I set out to do. My motto in life is reinvent yourself as many times as you need to. You cannot limit yourself as a person. I mean, today I can wake up and decide this is what I want to do. And tomorrow I can wake up and decide this is what I want to do. So I believe in reinventing. Be who you want to be. And every day you find yourself. There are things that you don't know about yourself. You didn't know about yourself yesterday and you're finding them out now. For me, I had to now change from being Mamaswa Yolawa debater, Mamaswa volleyball, Mamaswa winner, Mamaswa this, Mamaswa that, to being Mamaswa. Your advocate, Mamaswa that speaks for other people, Mamaswa that does things to show other people like me to say, you want to model. You don't really have to walk to do that. You can still do it Uduji on your chair. You can still do radio Uduji on your chair. You can still advocate and speak for other people Waru Uduji on your chair. So for me, reinventing myself it can be an everyday thing, depending on how you see it in your personal life. But for me, it's an everyday thing. I do it daily. I discover things that I didn't know about myself, or discover other things that exist, but I didn't know I can do them. When I went into Activated, I went there with the mindset of wanting to learn. Yeah, but my mind was opened with so many things. I got to meet a lot of people. I got to meet and got to learn that people actually want to tell their stories in their own way, in the most comfortable way they can, in the most chilled way that they want to. People open up, and people are so kind and so nice to work with. I met a lot of people. I made friends, I'd like to believe. The ladies that I worked with, those women, you can rely on those women. Those women are the kindest women I've met. Those women are they're superheroes in my eyes, I tell you. I found myself in a lot of these people that I got to interview and speak with. And I got to learn so much and make friends. Yeah, and now I'm going to party in different provinces.
After the break, we meet Notukela Makohliso en Nonhlanhla Bakasa. Ons is nou weer terug. Welcome back. In studio with us today is Nonhlanhla and from Cape Town, Notukela. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holden.
Notukela, we start with you first. You started the Notukela Foundation Institute. Briefly share with our viewers what it is that you want to achieve with the NFI.
I am very grateful for the second chance that God has given me in life. So the NFI is really my way of paying it forward by assisting people who've been through similar situations, supporting them and just restoring dignity into their lives. We do this through storytelling as well as our project Isidima mobile app, which offers online trauma counseling as well as online training. The idea is really to create a supportive structure, a place where persons with disabilities can connect, support each other, and thrive.
Nonhlanhla, better known as Ado, you work in the activism and media space. Can you tell us about the work you do, what makes your heart sing, and how does this relate to Team Activated?
Well, for me, I think the reason why I'm so passionate about that space is because of one word: representation. Just the idea of a young me, or, a young little girl who sits there and says, wait a second, in the media space, whether it's on TV or radio or somewhere, someone says, she looks like me. That means I can do that if I want to be. Or I could be whoever it is that I want to be. So representation is one of my biggest things, and it really fuels my passion. Just the idea that, children with disabilities or even young adults with disabilities are able to look up and see somebody that looks like them, and it tells them that nothing is your limitation.
To both of you ladies, what aha moments that you have on Activated Season 2 that could possibly alter your trajectory as far as activism and the work you do?
Well, if it's okay, one of the biggest things that as much as I'm in the media industry, I'm also big in activism, as you spoke about, and disability is part of my everyday thing. And it's easy to think that, look, I work in the disability sector, so I know everything. But then while I was working on Activated, I got to meet different people, I got to meet different solutions, and it was just so beautiful to see that there is so much out there, and so many things that can make life easier for us. And again, so many different people out there who are loud, who are proud, who are persons with disabilities and saying, this is who I am, accept me as I am.
Any challenges that you guys experienced? Notukela, why don't you answer that one?
I would not say challenges per se. For me, the big word is growth. Being part of this production has brought a great deal of growth. When there were challenges, we had an incredible group of women with disabilities who cheered each other on. We only saw ability in each other, and that made all of us want to excel. And we always delivered every time and went beyond and above expectation. Can't say there were challenges, but another aha moment for me was really getting tucked into the literature that I have been putting off because I am quite busy. But really just learning about it, experiencing people's stories, understanding the sector even better. Even my language and sensitivity was affected. So this has been for me a life-altering experience. Most importantly is being able to tell our own stories from our own perspectives, because it's important to take authorship of our own stories. And this show has given us that opportunity to tell our own stories, reclaim the narrative, and it's been an absolute pleasure doing that.
Before I say goodbye, Ado, any last words for our viewers out there?
Definitely. I think one of the biggest thing is what Notukela spoke about, owning our narrative and making sure that we speak for ourselves. I mean, one of the biggest taglines that you hear in disability is nothing about us without us. So we need to make sure that we continue to stand up, we continue to fight for what is right, and we continue to just speak, because sometimes that's all we need to do. You just need to say something, education, and we'll be able to change the world by just speaking up.
Fantastic. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us.
Thank you, Helga.
Thank you.
After the break, we meet up with Abongile, Xhantini, and Palesa Matlala. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. In studio with us today is Abongile, Xhantini, and her service dog Pom Pom. They've come to visit us again today. Welcome, Abongile.
Thank you so much. So much fun to be back here again.
Abongile, what is the one thing South Africans should do to create a disability-inclusive Mzansi?
Thanks for the question. I think it's a really important one, and I think it's very loaded. In South Africa, we're so backwards compared to the rest of the world, and I think it has to do a lot with the will for integration. We've stopped as a country wanting to invest in people and Ubuntu, and I think we haven't worked hard enough of late to try and understand people and reintegrate. And I think we need to, as a country, reintegrate, realize that it's not just a racial fight that we're fighting, an economic fight, it's also an ability fight that we're fighting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What social systems need to be changed for service dogs to be fully integrated into society?
Again, I think it goes back to people. I think South Africans need a culture shift. And that culture shift means integrating different people with different attitudes, diverse backgrounds, and that. So I think if we were to positively talk about service dogs and not just about dogs and change the messaging around service dogs and even using the right language, I think we would be moving towards creating a society that allows people to find the resource and then allows them to use the resource.
Can you share with our viewers any aha moments, funny moments, highlights that you had on working on season 2 and with all the other researchers?
We had such a fun team. I really loved working with these ladies. I think for me, every meeting, every weekly meeting was a lot of fun. Like, I anticipated those Thursday meetings with the girls because there was so much to learn, so much to share. For me, my biggest aha moment was that I was able to publicly, for the first time, talk about my invisible impairments and really let people understand the difference between a physical impairment and what those roles aligned with that are for my service dog, and my invisible impairments, the complex PTSD diagnosis. For me, that was a big aha moment. One of my favorite things, my favorite topics and my highlight was doing an episode on service dogs, but also on the travel, because transport is so important. And I hadn't realized the great amount of transports that are there, the progress that is being made, the technology that is there that South Africa hasn't yet found and integrated. So I'm walking away with a huge Britannica encyclopedia, as I close this chapter of Activated.
I'm going to end this saying that we should all be more visible. Definitely.
I think so.
Abongile, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you. This has been very insightful, and I'm glad that I was part of the process.
So Palesa had to join us today, but again, load shedding. We couldn't get hold of her. So we're going to go meet up with her now. Let's take a look.
Ha ke thola an opportunity to be a disability activist. Ne ke sa tsebe exactly gore tshwantse ke etse eng. However, the opportunity found me. And then the ironic thing, Guyana, is that I have epilepsy and I have major depression. And ne ke sa tsebe gore major depression can actually be a disability. So the kind of stigma and the discrimination and get from people because major depression actually pushing to raise awareness. So my journey in becoming a disability activist in story saga to educate. And I know I can't change the world in one day, mara I can make a difference with the number of people that I have. So the creative process route in Gauteng was get quality guests that can articulate themselves, especially in their mother tongue. And then he created a contrast between the rural and the urban, because as much as we bua about a disability, but go to rural areas, they still see a disability as into engwe compared to the urban areas. And then another thing is, I just wanted our guests to do be free. Ba kgone go express as much as they can while advocate for persons ba phelang ka disabilities. So it wasn't just about khongwala a synopsis yaka, but also it is also who consider the personality and the characters tsa di guests. Kaofela rona re na le potential, and kaofela rona we can make a difference in the world. Ke believe gore we can't change the entire world, but that one or two people ba o ka etsang a difference in their lives, we should grab that opportunity.
En so het ons aan die einde gekom van 26 wonderlike sonnaandoggende met julle. Vir my en die span was dit 'n ongelooflike voorreg om hierdie stories met Mzansi te deel. Bly veilig, totsiens. Join, like and share Activated on Facebook.